The road from Oakhaven bends slowly toward the sea. Not in a straight line, not with urgency, but with the quiet certainty of a path that has been walked by many before. The air changes first, less of soil and oak, more of wind and salt. Boots strike packed earth, then stone, then a narrow cliffside trail where the horizon finally opens. There are no great dangers on this stretch of road, no ambush, no dramatic storm, just the steady rhythm of travel and the sound of waves somewhere below the fog. Travel between inns is rarely memorable in the moment, but it is in these stretches that stories settle, and travellers decide whether they are moving toward something or simply passing through. By late afternoon, the mist begins to lift, and ahead, carved into the sea cliffs like a stacked collection of stubborn decisions, Port Crestwave appears. Port Crestwave does not sprawl outward like most towns. It climbs. Docks cling to the lowest rocks. Warehouses rise above them. Homes and shops stack higher still, each level connected by narrow stone stairs that twist like knotted rope. The entire city feels vertical, layered, busy even when still. Ships crowd the harbour when trade is good, but lately fewer sails arrive. The Merchants' Guild governs here, not with banners or proclamations, but with contracts and quiet agreements. Everything in Port Crestwave has value, and everything can be negotiated, even the law. The current trouble is not political, nor violent, just inconvenient. Rumour is a ghost ship has been sighted in the fog. Rumour is it does not attack. Rumour is it does not dock. It simply appears where it should not be and vanishes when watched too closely. Ships refuse to sail when it is seen, and without ships, spices do not arrive on time. Without spices, taverns complain, and in Port Crestwave, taverns complaining is considered a civic concern. Near the lower terrace, above the docks but below the merchant quarter, a lantern glows green against the mist. The Barnacles rest. The door opens, with the sound of damp wood and iron hinges. Inside, the inn creaks softly, like a ship remembering the ocean. Bioluminescent lanterns cast a cool green glow. The scent of fried fish lingers in the air, joined by salt and rope. Behind the bar stands a man with a peg leg and a knife in hand, carefully filleting something that once swam.
Evening. Find a seat where the floor feels steady.
What? Floor feels steady.
Silas glances up, smiling with the practiced ease of someone who has seen many travellers and judged most of them correctly within seconds.
Name's Silas. Salty Silas in a previous life. Used to sail more than I walked. Now I stay where the ground doesn't move quite so much.
What? Quite so much?
Silas gestures lightly with the knife.
Don't mind him. Found Anzu after a storm off the Crestwater routes. Ship was half gone. Crew was less than half.
What? Less than half.
He repeats the end of whatever I say. Keeps me honest. Or at least consistent.
What? At least consistent.
If you're here for wine, don't be.
What? Don't be.
Shipment from Glimmerwick arrived sour as regret. No idea how. No one trusts a bottle that traveled through fog like that.
What? Fog like that.
Silas returns with a plate.
Fish. Fresh. Caught just this morning. Best dish in Port Crestwave. Usually.
What? Usually.
Usually I'd season it better, but the spice ships haven't docked since that ghost ship started showing up.
What? Showing up?
Hard to cook proper meals when sailors won't sail and merchants won't risk it.
What? Won't risk it.
Silas walks back over to the bar and leans over, staring out.
I've seen plenty of strange things at sea, but ships that appear without wind never mean good trade.
What? Good trade.
The door opens just enough to let in a slice of damp evening air. Not a dramatic entrance, not a quiet one either. Simply the kind of arrival that expects to be acknowledged, and usually is. Two figures step inside the Barnacle's rest. They are dressed for importance. Not extravagance, not ceremony, but importance. Layered coats of dark blue and sea green cloth, trimmed in careful stitching that suggests money spent thoughtfully rather than loudly. Gloves despite the warmth of the room. Boots that have never touched a dock without being cleaned afterward. They do not remove their cloaks immediately. They stand near the door first, allowing their presence to be noticed in stages. In Port Crestwave, entrances are rarely accidental. Silas looks up from behind the bar and nods once. A greeting, a recognition, and perhaps a small acknowledgement that whatever business has arrived is not the kind that can be ignored. The two guild members move toward the bar with the ease of people who know exactly where they belong in every room they enter. Their voices remain low, but not so low that they disappear completely. Just enough to signal privacy without secrecy. Trade has slowed. Ships have delayed departure. Dockhands are idle longer than they prefer. Merchants are calculating losses that grow by the day rather than the season. The topic, inevitably, is the same one circulating through every tavern and warehouse along the coast. The ghost ship. It has been seen again. At dusk, at dawn. Always in the fog. Never close enough to hail, never far enough to dismiss. No one claims it has fired a weapon. No one claims it has attacked. And yet, its presence has accomplished something far more disruptive. It has made sailors hesitate. In a port like Crestwave, hesitation spreads faster than rumor. Without ships leaving harbor, cargo remains stacked. Without cargo arriving, spice stores dwindle. Without spices, taverns begin serving meals that taste more like obligation than comfort. The guild members speak carefully. Their tone is measured. But there is an edge beneath the civility. Not anger, exactly, but impatience. Silas listens. He does not interrupt. He does not argue. He does not promise. He wipes his hands on a cloth, leans slightly on the bar, and gives them the kind of attention reserved for storms that may or may not reach shore. One guild member gestures subtly toward the harbor, as though the ghost ship might be visible through stone walls and wooden beams if only one looked hard enough. They mention routes being reconsidered, cargo being redirected, costs being absorbed, costs being passed along. In Port Crestwave, problems are rarely solved without first being priced. Silas responds only when necessary. Short answers, practical answers, answers that neither agree nor disagree too strongly with anything being said. He has lived long enough to know when a conversation is less about solutions and more about being witnessed. Anzu, perched quietly nearby, tilts his head from time to time but says nothing. Whether out of politeness or intuition, it is difficult to tell. Eventually, the guild members fall silent. They have said what they came to say. Not demands, not orders. Simply reminders that trade is slowing, that patience is thinning, and that even small inns feel the ripple of larger tides. Silas nods once more, a gesture that suggests he understands, and perhaps that he always has. The guild members depart as they arrived, without drama, without urgency, but with the unmistakable gravity of people whose concerns rarely go unanswered for long. The door closes behind them. A brief draft of sea air moves through the room, stirring lantern light and the faint smell of salt. For a moment, the Barnacle's rest feels slightly larger in their absence, and slightly quieter. Silas returns to his work. Knife to fish, cloth to counter. Routine reasserting itself the way it always does in places that have seen many passing worries. Outside, the waves continue their steady rhythm against the cliffs. Inside, conversation resumes. And somewhere beyond the fog, something drifts where it should not. The door settles back into its frame after the guild members leave. Their absence is noticeable, but not disruptive. Like a tide pulling away from shore, expected, inevitable, and already fading. The Barnacle's rest resumes its quieter rhythm. Silas returns to his work behind the bar, the steady scrape of blade against cutting board re-establishing a familiar pattern. Anzu shifts on his shoulder, feathers catching the lantern light in soft, shifting colors. For a time, nothing of consequence happens. Mugs are wiped, fish is turned. Wind presses gently against the shutters and moves on. It is often in these small, unremarkable stretches that travelers remember the tasks they carry with them. Not the grand ones, not the dangerous ones, but the simple errands entrusted by someone at the last fire, in the last inn, on the last evening before the road began again. From a pack at the traveler's side, something solid rests. Weighty, familiar in shape even before it is seen. An item not meant for this place, but carried through it all the same. The memory of Oakhaven lingers faintly here, of low ceilings, warm firelight, and an innkeeper who had a habit of polishing the bar while offering advice no one asked for, but everyone accepted. Barney Stoutheart had spoken of a knight, a grumpy one, a hurried one, a knight who left something behind and continued on without it. He had asked, gently and without insistence, that if the road allowed, the shield be returned. Port Crestwave is a place where many objects change hands. Cargo moves constantly. Packages arrive. Deliveries are forgotten. But this particular item does not feel like cargo. It feels like a promise. And so, with the evening settling and the inn quiet enough for conversation, the traveller produces it. From pack to table, from journey to moment. The shield is simple, grey, kite-shaped, unadorned by crest or flourish. The kind of shield meant to be used rather than admired, carried for protection, not ceremony. Its surface bears the faint marks of travel, scratches that speak of impact rather than decoration, wear that suggests reliability more than prestige. When it is set upon the bar, it makes a sound that is neither loud nor subtle, just enough to draw attention without demanding it. Silas looks up. His eyes settle first on the shape, then on the condition, then on the quiet implication that accompanies any object carried across more than one road. He studies it carefully, not with surprise, not with alarm, but with the measured curiosity of someone who has seen many items pass through his inn, and understands that some carry more story than others. He sets the knife down, wipes his hands once, and leans slightly closer. The evening holds steady around them, and for the first time since the guild members left, the conversation shifts towards something personal rather than practical.
Well now, that belongs to a knight with very little patience.
Huh? Very little patience.
Sir Kalen stayed one night, didn't sleep much, left before sunrise.
Huh? Before sunrise.
Headed inland, toward Glimmerwick. Urgent business, he said. Didn't explain it, didn't ask.
Huh? Didn't explain it.
If you're carrying that for him, there's no telling how long before you catch up to him.
Huh? Up to him.
The inn quiets. Footsteps move up creaking stairs. A window overlooks the sea. Fog drifts. For a moment, something moves in the distance. A silhouette. Masts without wind. A hull where none should be. Then it fades. Whether it was truly there or simply expected to be is unclear. Morning in Port Crestwave arrives without spectacle. No grand sunrise over the harbour, no sudden clearing of the fog, just a pale light settling slowly over wet stone and quiet docks. The Barnacle's Rest looks smaller in daylight, as inns often do once a traveller prepares to leave them behind. Time spent here has not been long, but it has been enough. Enough for a warm meal that tried its best without spices. Enough for a few stories, whether true or simply well told. Enough for the kind of rest that comes from walls that creak but do not shift.
Road inland's quieter than the sea, usually a fair trade.
Huh? Fair trade.
Hope you find Kalen to deliver his shield. When you see him, tell him I still owe him a drink he never stayed for.
What? Never stayed for.
Next stop's Glimmerwick. Find the floating beaker. Strange folk, kind enough.
What? Strange folk. Kind enough.
Come back through someday, will ya? Still owe you the finest fish dinner in Zzzanethra.
What? In Zzzanethra.
Some inns serve as destinations. Others serve as waypoints. The Barnacle's Rest is the latter, a place that steadies travellers just long enough to send them onward again. The sea remains restless behind you. The cliffs hold their fog, and somewhere out there, beyond sight, ships still hesitate at the horizon. But the road inland waits without complaint. Ahead lies Glimmerwick, a town of softer light and quieter currents, a place where rivers carry more than trade, and where the next fire will already be lit by the time you arrive. Every journey across Zzzanethra is made of these small departures. Doors closing gently behind you, lanterns fading in the distance, voices wishing you safe travel in tones that assume you will return someday. And perhaps you will. But for now, the road continues, as it always does.